When a pedal company's slogan is less talent, more volume, then I know that I'm probably in the right place. This right here is the Silver Machine by JPTRFX, and I think that this little fuzz can give you some of the gnarliest guitar sounds on planet Earth. And in this video, I'm going to show you why. JPTRFX are a pedal company based in northern Germany and run by a guy called Chris Jupiter. And from the pedals I've used, it seems like he just loves to make like crazy over-the-top pedals that just sound awesome and just basically just tear your face off. Just before we get into this, I'm not actually getting paid anything for this video, but Chris did send my band a few pedals to use. He never asked me to make this video, but I just love them so much that I wanted to make one for this. Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's have a look at this pedal. It's basically a dual gain stage fuzz with an octave up that just sounds absolutely ridiculous. It really does. It sounds so cool. You can basically find so many different tones by changing the knobs and the different gain stages, and then you have a master volume control here. This thing is proper loud. When I've been playing it, I've been having it on like 10 o'clock max, and it's absolutely flying into my amp. Also, before I get into playing it, inside the pedal there's 3 little switches, and they can basically dim down some of the highs that get added from the octave. Now for me, I play Jazzmasters and Jaguars mainly, so they can tend to get quite bright. So I've got the switches all the way down. The guitar I'm going to be playing for this today is my Jaguar. It's actually a Chinese Fender, and it's got P90s in the pickups, and I think it sounds absolutely great. This guitar here is actually a little bit darker than the blue Jazzmaster that I normally use, and I think it's just with the octave up on this, adding just a little bit too much highs, it sounded better on this guitar. Just bear that in mind. Maybe you need to just roll a little bit of the treble off your amp, or it might sound awesome through your single coils if you've got them. Anyway, let's plug this thing in and hear how it sounds. My God. I think it would be absolutely criminal not to just turn up both gain controls and hear how it sounds. Spoiler alert. Pretty brutal. That just sounds absolutely ridiculous, doesn't it? Like, it's ridiculously low. I mean, I think it just fills like every frequency range there is. Something that I noticed while I was playing around with this is at certain positions between the 2 gain stages, you get like this weird oscillation that would kind of almost like be like a delay, like it'd be in time and have a pulse to it. And I thought that would be really cool to kind of add as a feature and try and make something around that. So I know we've been there before, but we're going to have to venture into dab rock world again and get Kyle, the Logic drummer, up to play his part. So this was me basically playing on the A string and the D string, and then just using that oscillation to kind of fit in time. I don't think I got it quite perfectly, but I think you get the idea. I thought that sounded really cool. It's not something that I've heard that much from other pedals I've got, just that oscillating in time, and I think probably if you spent a little bit longer you could get that to sound really cool in some songs. Now I know this thing sounds absolutely brutal on its own, but I wanted to see if it could do like more shoegazy stuff. Obviously it's super doomy and super gnarly, but I thought, what happens if we put this into a bit of delay and into a bit of reverb and just see kind of how it sounds. Now, because of my band, we've actually got a couple of these JPTRFX pedals, and the Warlow one here, that's like kind of based on the Big Muff and the Rat. Probably warrants its own video in itself. But this, combined with reverb, sounds awesome. Even like low chords, it really, really cuts through, and it just sounds massive and like super shoegazy, kind of Kevin Shields-esque, if I do say so myself. But anyway, that one sounds awesome on all the low strings with the reverb and stuff. But with the Silver Machine, when I was playing around with it, if I played like low notes, it kind of, you couldn't really hear the tone of the chords. and I don't know if that's just my setup or whether that's just to do with the octave up and maybe just the absolutely brutal double gain staging. But what I found is if you played higher strings, it really cut through and sounded awesome. So here, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing some higher notes and I think it sounds great. One thing I noticed whilst playing that, I know that was like kind of drenched in reverb and stuff, but if you took all that reverb off and you had a much, much, much better guitarist, I think you'd actually get some of those kind of old Jimi Hendrix style fuzz sounds, which I think could be absolutely awesome. And I didn't know it could do that sort of sound. Now we've obviously heard both the like kind of big doomy sound and then the more shoegazy thing, but I thought, what if we put them together and we'll have that kind of riff playing and then play the lead part over the top of it. I think that sounded absolutely evil, really. I think this thing will definitely be featuring on some of my band's next songs, whether it be like a lead part or some really heavy chords to just sit either side of the mix and absolutely have it. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and it would be awesome if you could subscribe, and there's 2 other videos here that I think you'll really like.